This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning everybody. Welcome to a very rainy Djuma private game reserve in the Sabi Sands. I'm sitting up on quarantine with an elephant bull that is heavy in must, and he is trying to intimidate us at this point in time. My name is Tess, I'm going to be your guide on safari this morning. Behind the camera is BK, and we have started our morning with some adrenaline this morning. Hello buddy. So you can see he's definitely trying to intimidate us at this point. And he's been kind of coming forwards and going backwards a bit. But that's just because he's in must at the moment, so he is feeling extra strong. And so we've just been watching him as he's been moving from tree to tree. He's been feeding a bit, he's been kicking up some dirt and throwing it on himself. And now he's decided, hang on, these people aren't going anywhere. I'm gonna kind of just carry on ambling around. Well, that was a great start to my morning. So we would love to hear from you this morning. If you have any questions or comments, please send them in. Miss Ladybug, I'm glad that you are excited to be back with us. If you or anyone else would like to send any more comments, you know where to find us. Hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. If you're under the age of 18, pop us an email on kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, or you can register on the WildEarth website. Head over to the channel page and submit your questions there. I'm sure there are many like Miss Ladybug that are excited to be back on safari. We don't know how long we're going to be out for this morning. It has been pouring with rain all night, as we expected from last night. But I'm sure you've noticed Wendy is moving. She is out of the hole that she was stuck in last night while I was following the lions. And we are happily sitting on quarantine watching our elephant bull. Chanti and BK came to the rescue, pulled us out. So I'm sure this elephant bull is going to be around quarantine all morning. He looks as though he's been pushing at a few marula trees. Oh, he's actually trying to reach up there now. Trying to make himself as tall as possible to reach those bottom branches for marula fruits. Got a pretty big branch. So if you can hear the material moving, it's just the rain flaps everybody from the roof. It's not him that we can hear with that. But this is one of the bigger bulls that we've seen around quarantine. You can see he's a very big body, especially behind his head. He's got a very thick and tall neck, and his tusks are very impressive. They're not the longest tusks I've seen, but in terms of width, they are nice and broad. So I would think he's definitely going to win a good few fights this season and have a few new calves around in just under 2 years. I'm amazed at how dark it still is, and that's obviously because of the overcast weather and the rain. But while we watch him disappear, because I don't think he'll be coming back, let's head over and see what our weather forecasts are for the day today.
morning everybody, I hope you're well. Welcome. My name is Jonty. We got Eckhart and Gert behind me. We are on Weaver's Nest currently. We've been tracking a pride of lions for 5 minutes, but now we are not really seeing them here. So we're going to have to pick a direction here to see if we're going to go this way or this way. They came from here, so I don't know, I'm inclined to go that way. I'm just checking here carefully. It obviously is a bit more tricky after the rain. So let's go, let's take, this is elephant carcass. Morning James, good to have you with us. So as we were saying last night, the conditions were perfect, so we're hoping these lions have actually captured something. So I just have to go super slow here. Obviously we mentioned it a lot, but if the lions are walking along the road, then it's a bit easier to spot the tracks. Now we're looking for them, they're going to come, hopefully going to come from the side and get back onto the road. Just want to update our test. No visual sightings yet. The tracks of that pride of lions head south on Weaver's Nest from Philemon's Dip. I'm now just checking elephant carcass. They cut off from Weaver's Nest. I didn't see exactly which way they went. So I am hoping to find these lions busy eating something. Also when it's raining like this, it's not bad rain currently, it's not hard, but you see the lions sometimes they don't really like it, and you'll see them go huddle up somewhere. But I think what we'll do, we're on elephant carcass now, we'll check here. Then we'll get onto Twin Dams Road, and then we'll do a loop around the southern section to see if these can find these tracks. Yeah, is that the Liu? Okay, so the lions have come back onto this road. This is legendary. Just double checking, because sometimes these cub tracks almost looks like a leopard track. But it is the lion cubs, unless it was a leap of male leopards walking down the road. Maybe Twin Dams is the direction they're heading. A couple of days ago they had 2 male lions lying up around Twin Dams. Now there's no tracks here, so they must have cut through the drainage line.
I have left the lovely elephant bull that was trying very hard to intimidate us this morning. I'm headed towards Gari Dam. I'm hoping we might be able to help Jonty. He's found those tracks of the lions. And I just want to cover some bases. So I'm going to be going towards Gari Dam and then heading down Twin Dams Road. I'll check in at the hyena den. We'll see if there might be any leopard tracks around. So I'm not actively going to be tracking the lions today. Jonty's going to give it a crack. And I'll just call in tracks if I see them, so he knows where to come to. I can tell you, the more I'm out on safari in the rain, the more I'm waiting for someone to invent those little wipers for my glasses. Joy PA USA, you are welcome. I think we might be the only people on the planet that still enjoy going out in the rain, because we know it means different sightings and a different experience. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's fun to get absolutely drenched all the time, but most of the time we still come back laughing with massive smiles on our faces because we're laughing at how wet we got on drive or something strange that happened during the rain. So we love it. We're happy we get to share it with you. That's for sure. And we always get this hopeful feeling in weather like this. Wild dogs, maybe a leopard, maybe a herd of lions on a kill. You never know what you're going to find. It might not be the best day for birding in terms of smaller birds. But yes, we will see. We will see. Raptors though, we might get some good views. Might indeed. Some lovely hippo tracks here. Nadia, this kind of weather, the best animals to find are things like elephants, because they don't have to be hiding from the heat. And also things like big herds of buffalo. They are wonderful to spend time with when it's cooler and slightly wet. And then of course our predators. So wild dogs might still be moving. This isn't deep enough or hard enough that the wild dogs would be deterred. They would be out and hunting. And the same with leopards, lions. Very lucky maybe a cheetah, although they prefer the warmer weather. But yes, any predators, hyenas included. That's what we look forward to seeing on days like today. And then the bigger things that are appreciating the fact that they don't have to hide all day. We're going to see how the bird call challenge goes today, everybody. My phone got a little bit drenched yesterday in the downpour just before 3:30. Hat flew off. The rain came bucketing in. There was a pool of water in the car, and unfortunately my phone just so happens to be in that pool of water. And so we don't know if it's going to work today, but I'll give it a bash for you all later. See how it goes. I had it sitting in rice overnight. Did switch on this morning, but we're not sure about the audio. So altogether, yesterday was a very adventurous afternoon. lovely to see the lions. And then Wendy, of course, the front left, Wendy found the biggest hole on Juno in the long grass. So that was very entertaining. In the dark with lions and rain. And it was just after I'd said, I'm gonna take a little extra slow here because I don't want to hit a big hole. And I think about 2 minutes after you left me, I just hit a hole. I had no clue it was coming. Ooh, Wahlberg's eagle, hello. Sea raptors, predators. Perfect, thank you, BK. Sandra, I hope so too. I'll be very sad if I can't continue my bird call challenge with you. Especially since even in this weather we've got some birds that are out. And this is exactly what I was hoping for. The raptors tend to take advantage of this kind of weather. Especially things like brown snake eagles, Wahlberg's eagles, battaliers, the occasional martial eagle. And this is a pale morph. You can see the white on the front and on the head. And I'm sure, because the rain is lightening a little bit, it is waiting to dry off and get some sun on it. That's why it's nice and high up in the tree. I don't think it's going to get any sun anytime soon, but hopefully it'll dry off. And what it's waiting for is any movement across the road and the grass, because reptiles are going to be trying to find a warm spot to keep their body going this time of the morning. There is in fact a roller that is mobbing it. You're going to see it. We've got the rain roof on, which is a bit unfortunate, but you can hear it. And every now and then you might see it coming down into the frame towards the eagle's head. I love how it's moving its head. It's trying to gauge something. Ah, time for some preening. Helen, yes, this looks like an adult Wahlberg's eagle. It's actually one of the smallest eagles we get here, if not the smallest of the brown eagles. Obviously this one is a pale morph, but it still counts as a brown eagle. And I think its size is about 61 to 63 centimeters, so it's pretty tall. But if you compare that to something like a martial eagle, that's closer to 90 centimeters. So it's quite a big difference, and you can imagine the weight difference is massive as well. Wahlberg's eagles will usually weigh under 2 kilograms. So it is an adult, and it's a very decently sized adult for a Wahlberg's eagle. Now this might be part of the resident pair that we often see on Central Road, very close to Giraffe Crossing. There's a pair that's a morph, pale morph, and a normal Wahlberg's eagle. They nest there every year, and we often see them on the way to Gowrie Dam. So that makes sense. We're just on the other side of the drainage line now, which would be why this rings a bell for me as part of that pair. I haven't seen the other one anyway, but chances are it's not too far away. In my guiding experience, this pair in particular, this one and the partner, if it's the same pair, are one of the most relaxed pairs I've ever seen. Jenna, yes, rollers are one of the species that will mob, but they're not as tenacious as the fork-tailed drongos and Burchell starlings. They're not quite as aggressive, so I could hear it calling, and so it was trying to call to intimidate the Wahlberg's eagle. It came down to mob, but it didn't come close enough to get to the head. It kind of did a bit of a loop, and then it did a roll up into the sky, and then moved off towards the drainage line. So they're not as aggressive that they'll actually come down and actively try and peck at the eagle or anything like that, but they certainly make it known that they're unhappy. A lot of loud calls and flying over the bird, but not necessarily down onto the bird. I'm sure you can hear the rain is starting to pick up in drop size. We are also under a very big tree, which I'm sure is concentrating the drops from the leaves. They're dripping down onto the roof. But you can also see that that breeze is really picking up. Look how its tail feathers and its wing feathers are blowing. So it must be quite cold up there. If you've gotten wet all night from the rain, and then you're sitting high up in a tree, the breeze is stronger there than it is just above the ground. So it'll be interesting to see whether this eagle is still in the same place later on, still trying to warm up. We are expecting the rain to continue. So I think this eagle is in for a bit of a damp morning. Birdwatcher, yes, there are many species in the lowveld that are herbivorous birds, or more specifically, a lot of them are frugivores, which means they eat fruit. So things like speckled mousebirds, or even African green pigeons. They like any figs. There's quite a few different species. Some of the, well, actually all of the doves would be eating seeds and things like that. So it really depends on the species you're looking at, but there are many. But my favorites would definitely be mousebirds, because I have rehabilitated and released a few of those myself. And definitely African green pigeons. I love those because they're always associated with fig trees. One of my favorite trees out here is the different types of fig, especially a strangler fig. To be honest, most of the birds we see very regularly, majority of them would be insectivorous, so they're predatory. But the smaller things, maybe the ones that we don't stop for, is often the doves that fly off very easily. Those kinds of things will eat seeds and fruits. What a lovely start. An elephant bull and a Wahlberg's eagle. Megan Edwards, yes, I can't imagine how this Wahlberg's eagle is feeling. Oh, wait, actually I can. Yes, it's not the most pleasant feeling to have very wet feathers, I'm sure. But luckily the feathers are pretty waterproof, so if an eagle or any bird positions itself that the rain is kind of falling off of its back, the feathers have a bit of a waxy coating, which means they are fairly waterproof, and hopefully most of the water will run off. And so you might find that the skin layer itself is actually pretty dry, and because there's so many feathers layered over each other, then it means that the body will also keep heat better than, say, ours would. Once our clothes are wet, we struggle to keep ourselves warm. And that's because we hardly have any hair on our bodies anymore. We have evolved to have less hair. But yes, I'm sure it's not so pleasant. We certainly know what it feels like to be wet out here and not be able to get dry for a while. But I think we're going to leave our Wahlberg's eagle. It's looking very relaxed and at the moment moving between just half sleeping and preening. And our rain is picking up, so I'm going to head on. I'm going to see what else I can find on this road. Hopefully I managed to help Jonty with some of those tracks. What a lovely start. See, I'm already beating Jonty with birds this morning. It's an easy go. The lane. Alright, let's see what we can find along Twin Dams Road, just on the edge of the finish line. a look for tracks along here. I can see quite a fair bit of hyena tracks. I'm not seeing lion tracks yet. I know Jonty had the tracks cutting towards Elephant Carcass, which is down to my front right. So I'm looking for tracks along this road to see if they've crossed maybe towards the Mulawati, maybe they've gone down towards Twin Dams or the Hyena Den. But most importantly, I'm buttoning up because the rain has just increased in intensity. It's great for you can't see. It's funny how we adapt. When you know that you can't wear your glasses, all of a sudden your eyes feel like they're a little bit stronger than they were. There's some birds alarm calling towards Chilapan. Maybe there might be something there. One of the most productive plant systems on the whole of Djuma, especially for bigger things. Buffaloes, elephants, a lot of nice birds. Chilapan. There's a nice cover there for the lions if they're wanting to sleep. Get themselves dry. And there's lovely greenery for things like elephants because it's on the edge of the drainage line. I feel like it's not getting any lighter this morning because it's just staying dark. I want to put my lights on. Oh my goodness. The rain definitely makes it a bit more challenging for us to track unless the lines have moved sometime in the last kind of 2-3 hours. The rain we had last night would have very easily washed any tracks away. But it did start to lighten at around 3 a.m. this morning. It started to lighten up a bit.
Okay, I'm just going to stop here. We're on the edge of the Mulawati River, so we've just done a loop for those tracks and we've actually just found them just behind us here. They come down into here, but we didn't see them when we came out of the river, so I'm going to have to go back down in and check if they didn't go up the river or if they carried on straight through. But what's interesting, I don't know if these lions maybe chased something during the night because we were following tracks of all of them and then they cut off somewhere and then we just had tracks of one lioness going off and it looked like a lioness and a cub coming back, so maybe they had to regroup during the night. But there's only so long I can sit here on the edge of the drainage line. Because the only bummer is it's still raining, so as it rains it's going to start washing the tracks away. But I'm just going super slowly to check. It doesn't look like they went up there. Trouble is, you've got some sections where it's so nice and soft, and then other sections where it's hard. You're going to head back to Tessa, who's bumbling, fizzy bumbling.
Jonty, good luck. I hope that when you do find the lions, if you find them, that you haven't missed them by almost driving over them and then viewers are spotting it and letting us know. I really hope that's not the case today. So if any of you don't know what I'm talking about, Sunset Safari on the 4th. Jonty was tracking a leopard. very professionally out the side. And the viewers very kindly pointed out that as he pulled to the side of the road to track, the leopard was in front of the car, turned around and walked away into the bush, and neither him nor Gert saw it. It was at about 1 hour 57 minutes in, if you wanted to have a look. So I'm hoping he doesn't do that at the Lions today. We've had some amazing moments, haven't we? Goodness gracious. Oh, hello, tracks. What have we got? These look like lion tracks. These are lion tracks. Yay! Oh, Jaunty. Jaunty, please.
Go ahead.
Picked up in the tracks of this pride going south on Twin Dams Road from Pangolin Track, Chilapan area. They're literally walking straight down the road.
Copy, I've been following them. They look like they've crossed to the Mloati. One of them has. I'm just trying to figure out where it's going.
Copied. We're in the Mloati are you now? Ooh, lion tracks. Going that way. Fantastic. So Jaunty's going to check the riverbed out.
I'll double check now. I think I've come out on Mamba Road. I'll just check and let you know.
I know, it's an amazing story, don't you think? Better luck next time, Jaunty. Okay, copy that. I'll go check towards Twin Dams.
Yeah, I checked around there. You'll see the tracks go through the drainage. Looks like one line is going to collect the cup, headed back north. The tracks are on Mamba Road now, on the east of Mamba Link. The western arm of Mamba Link.
Copy that. Good luck. Oh goodness. Yes, let's hope Jaunty has better luck with tracking today. So he doesn't walk into them or, completely miss them next to the road. I can't imagine how many times you've actually done that when you're out there. If you think about it, how many times must we drive straight past a leopard with grass this long? He was a meter away from it and didn't see it. So, I mean, how many leopards, lions, hyenas, wild dogs, how many must we drive past that we don't even notice? Yeah. There's tracks of aligners coming up this way, the rest of the pride coming down. We've done a bit of a circle. So Jaunty's on that side of the river. I'll keep checking on this side. I'll go past the hyena den. I'm almost there. Oh, my rain roof is raining on me. The rain has changed angle, everybody. It's coming straight in the front. That sounded cheeky in my ear. Okay, they want me to send you to Jaunty to see how his tracking is going. I hope you found it.
Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, we had to go back through the Mloati. We lost signal, but we found the tracks again. They're continuing. We're on Mamba Road. These tracks are heading east along the road. And we're just going super slow. You don't want to lose the tracks. In some sections it's so hard. You're literally just seeing a tiny little imprint of a toe. And then you start questioning yourself. There's one there again. So we're just going slowly. What I'm hoping we're going to just come up onto the crest and just see the lions lying in the road. That'll be super duper. Super duper. It's funny that the lions, they won't like to walk through the wet grass, so what's on our favor is that they should stay on the road for as long as possible. Linda, I'm nowhere near a master. It's an ongoing thing. But it takes years for someone to become proficient. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't use the word master anywhere near the tracking ability I have. But we've chatted about it before on previous shows. Sort of the first thing you learn is, one, how to identify the different tracks. And what is that there? And for us, especially in the tourism industry, it would be initially, can you just identify the tracks of the big five? And once you go from there, then you start broadening out, and then you got to start thinking, being able to say, are the tracks fresh enough to follow? Because there's no point following tracks that are, a week old. In this instance, we're lucky because it's been raining, so we know anything sort of on top of the rain is fresh. But it's this last section, I haven't seen anything that's convinced me. It's hard, eh? It looks like something went and lay down in there. But no, that is a big thing that did that. And also it becomes like a bit of a process of elimination. We're going to go all the way along here to the boundary and check if they cross out there, because the boundary roads are normally a bit easier because they get graded a lot. So especially on the edges, you get really nice soft sand. Otherwise, we might have to drive Mamba Link back. I might tell Tess to drive Mamba Link. Let me just check. Tess, what's your position now? Copy. I've lost the tracks for now, but it might be worth driving Mamba Link. I'm just going to continue on Mamba Road towards the break. I didn't really hear what she said in reply. So every now and again I think I see something that resembles a track. So Justin, hopefully it will dry out in the next day or two and we'll be able to show you. But especially if the sand is nice, if it's good substrate, the edges of the tracks stay very, very sharp. So, like the edge of the pad, around the toes, that'll all be very crisp in the sand. And obviously with wind and time, that will become a bit more rounded. If tracks are very, very fresh and you see them on the road, they almost have like a shine. You'll hear sometimes guys say that these tracks are shining, or they'll say they're clean. And because you literally can see that it's so fresh that the sand is almost so smooth still. That's probably the easiest way. What's also amazing is how far these cats can move during one night. So normally you'd have 2 or 3 cars working an area with you, so you'd leave one car to try and stay on the tracks. Oh, is that one there? That. What's that there? Yeah, that is there. So they're still going up here. So normally you'd have one car to try and stay on the tracks. They kind of get the treat of actually being able to try and find them. And then you'll have other cars doing sort of loops around you to make sure that the tracks haven't gone too far, because while you're going slowly, the lions could still be walking. You see, now there was one there, and now this soil should be so easy to see a track, and I'm not seeing a thing. But what we'll do is come back here to rule out them crossing off of Juma. I'm just going to go check the boundary. And then we'll come back and check here. What species of cat? 0. So cats will move around within their territory. They'll move around within their territory. Males of lions and leopards will get dispersed, and so they will move into a new area, but there's no migration, like they don't follow the rain or anything like that, or follow grazing. They pick a territory and stick to it. How lucky will we be if we come out onto the road and they're just lying there? It's also tough now when we've got the roofs on. The radio signal is horrendous, so I think it's test talking, but all I can hear is someone's hand in a bag of chips. We're just turning onto the boundary here. We're busy working for these lions. Now some hyena tracks. And the rain is getting harder, which is so good. It's now reached the point where it's wetting my lap. It's so awesome. Come on, little lion. It's such massive concentrating because you're just staring at the road. And at this stage, also because of the rain continuing, we're not looking for, like, obviously if we see a whole track, that's awesome. But we're basically just looking for little pieces. Some of the tracks that we've seen coming up that Gert's been spotting, it's literally like a toe or the back part of the track.
I love John talking about his many years of experience in tracking. Clean, shiny. Oh, neat tracks. I'm just getting rained on over here. So I've done a little bit of Gary Main and I've done a bit of Cheetah Cut Line now. And I don't have any tracks crossing south. BK. BK spotting things at 3 kilometers away. Let's see if it works. But there's no tracks crossing out here yet, which means they're probably somewhere in this block next to the drainage line.
Get your 4 o'clock.
Sorry, FC, I didn't get that. An elephant's bum, everybody. Ah, BK, please wipe the lens. Thank you. So there was an elephant's bum there. It's moved. The rest of the elephant was there too. It's just hiding behind the trees. And looks like it's moved off. Not very surprising in this area because it's a seaplant, so we are expecting to find a few elephants around here. I'm wondering if the elephant knows perhaps where the lions are, because if the lions have crossed out south or east, there's only a little stretch left that I haven't checked towards where Jonty's checked for tracks. So they've either crossed out north of me or they're still somewhere in here. And that's very likely because there's amazing drainage lines all along that lead back into the Milwaukee and over the road. So perhaps they are still sleeping somewhere nice and cozy. You can imagine the cubs, especially with two cubs that have paw injuries and then one with that wound on her back. They're going to want to try and keep their energy for their immune systems. They're going to want to try and stay warm on a day like today. And I can tell you, I'm getting granny fingers already, so it's very wet out here. It's very wet. So I'm sure they're going to be wanting to cuddle a little bit. They're going to be in a little cuddle puddle like we had them yesterday. And there are lots and lots of hyena tracks up and down here. So perhaps maybe the lions got lucky with the kudu or something. Larry, you're 14 years old and you want to know if animals might get struck by lightning if they were to stand in an open area. Yes, they can. They can get struck by lightning. There have been a few cases of animals that have been struck by lightning, whether it be giraffes or elephants, usually the very tall ones, the taller species. So yes, they certainly can get struck by lightning, and it's part of the reason why we don't like being out if there's lightning. Because can you imagine us driving around here? Good old Wendy, as faithful as she is, has a massive antenna on the back to power the signal. Not the best idea in an open area. So yes, we certainly want to be careful with that kind of thing. But yes, animals can get struck by lightning. I think it's probably more common though. What we find more commonly instead of being struck by lightning is... Actually first, let me tell you something strange about that. If animals are struck by lightning, they don't often get fed on. Especially vultures will not feed on a carcass if the animal has been killed because of lightning. Strange fact. I don't know if it changes the smell or the taste of the meat, because if you think about it, it basically fries the meat in essence. So maybe that's got something to do with it. But I think Jonty's driven here. I can see he's done a bit of a turn. These tracks are fresh as the vehicles. But we often find, more than being struck by lightning, we find that the problems also come in with things like, we call them telephone poles here in South Africa. So it's the big poles that you see along all of the, essentially power lines. So you see them all along the cut lines. And that can cause a little bit of a problem, because if elephants start getting a bit too rowdy and they push it over, or they happen to touch a live wire, they can get electrocuted. And I remember there was a case of an elephant pushing over a power line. I think it was in the Kruger Park. It was a few years ago. Elephant pushed over a power line, and the live wire was hanging quite low, and it hits a giraffe. So the giraffe got electrocuted. Lions and hyenas went to feed on the giraffe, and they got electrocuted because the live wire was still touching the giraffe. So it was just this mass electrocution that happened, one animal after the next, because everything had touched the giraffe, because it was still touching the live wire. Everything was electrocuted. So that's not one of the stories that we like to hear, unfortunately. So yeah, it's one of those situations. Actually, yeah, let me do Lakewood Road. It's a good idea. BK's going out. It's a good idea. So. But yes, that's not one of the stories we like to hear, but unfortunately things like that do happen. I think the total count for that was probably close to 13 animals. If I'm not mistaken, I could be. I can double check. It was a good few years ago, but around 13 animals that were electrocuted, which is not great. But yes, I've heard of many animals that have been struck by lightning. I don't know how many of them were actually witnessed in person. I'm sure some of them were just identified through autopsy or something like that, or having a look at the giraffe, because there's very specific scars from lightning strikes. Okay. Let us see how Leadwood Road goes for us. John T, I believe, has done Mumba Road, which is to my right. Now I've seen his tracks going up Cheetah Cut Line. So he's checked there, I've checked this section. Now there's two roads in the middle that I haven't checked. So I will help him here. And the nice part is that in this area, this is where Tundi has been hanging around. Oh, where Tundi's been hanging around quite a bit recently. Hello, guinea fowls. Oh, they are looking so nervous. I think everybody's just so wet. They're not really sure what to do with themselves. And it's tough when you're a ground bird. The grass is sopping wet. So where do you go? Looking very nervous walking through this long grass. It's a great day for leopards to be hunting. Great, perfect weather. Great, perfect, wow. So maybe they're nervous of that. Not the greatest view of them anymore, but they are still trying to move around. I think they're trying to stay in a group, but the long grass is also separating them a bit. I think that's two birds for me now, none for John T. Oh, they are disappearing. I didn't notice any little babies or chicks with this group. Most of the guinea fowls we've seen lately have babies. Ben, I'm glad that you love guinea fowls. Go ahead, John T. So do I love guinea fowls. Copy that. Yeah, we've done Gary Main, Cheetah Cut Line. Just turned on to Leadwood now. I haven't done Mumbalink yet.
Okay, copy. Yeah, they tracked further east to Mumbalink. I did find them again. I'm not in where Gothenburg joined Mumba. And then there was potentially some heading towards Leadwood, but I just couldn't watch the way.
Can't hear John T properly. Copy that, John T. Confirm that you say you're heading back. Copy that. Thanks, John T. So what I do want to show you, which I've just noticed because I could see it coming down past my vehicle, we have found an area where the water is starting to saturate. Look at that. In the track, you can see the white water of the water starting to move down Leadwood Road. I've got a bit of water dropping on my hat somewhere, don't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry everyone, that probably sounds like the worst echo in history, but I've got a drop of water hitting me from the roof. It's hitting me on my hat where my mic pack is. Sorry everyone, I'm hoping that doesn't continue. But have a look at that, a little bit of water coming down the road. So you can see the rain has started to completely saturate the soil. So now we're at the point where it's starting to run down the roads already. And I can see in the distance, I can't see past just the next little drainage line. It's very, very misty. John T is just a little bit further north and he's turned around and started heading back towards quarantine. It sounds like... Goodness gracious, my roof is attacking me. But we're going to do a little bit more of Leadwood Road and then we'll see from there. We've got a break in the rain very temporarily, but I can see that there is more rain coming on the horizon. So let's see how it goes. He said there might be trucks coming this way, so I'll just do Leadwood Road slowly. I could fill up a drinking water bottle with this. That is crazy. Wow. That is a lot of water. This is really when it becomes important that we've got all the rain covers that we do, because can you imagine being out here without the rain covers protecting the equipment and at least a little bit of a route to keep BK dry. He's very dry. I'm sopping wet. He's saying, no, I'm wet on one side. BK, I'll show you my shoes and my pants just now. You're not wet, my man. You're just a little frosty. You're misted up. Oh goodness, this road is washed away a lot. That's new. This must have been from the rains a week ago. I haven't done the road since then. Oh! Right, let's see how we go. At least this proves to everybody that I can actually see without my glasses. My bush eye is very well trained, so it's one of those things that I firmly believe the more time you spend in the bush, the more adapted your eyes become to spotting shapes that are irregular, so spotting animals at a distance, spotting tracks, spotting birds. Your eye picks it up, even if your brain doesn't register straight away, it'll say to you, hang on, something was different there. And you go back and you'll see an animal. So even without my glasses, at least I can still see what I'm going on the road. But I am still pretty good at spotting animals. You're laughing. I can hear giggling in my ear, everybody. What a day. Yes, we're just going to continue to get wet now.
Okay, so we left that area with those line tracks. We checked Cheetah Cut Line, we drove Drakensberg Road. The problem was the rain was just getting heavier and it was just washing away the tracks. Literally as we were following, a Tess drove in Gowrie boundary onto Cheetah Cut Line. She's going to drive Leadwood Drive, I think. But we reached the point where if they're in the block, we can't go in. We can't off-road currently with the rain that's fallen. So we thought we'd give the lions their morning. But it was very cool to follow their tracks like we did. And now we're just cruising. We're actually aiming ourselves just to be closer to the DRC because there's this band of rain that are coming in. They're quite heavy. we're sort of now backtracking. We can see where the lions have come from. Oh, when it's like this, it's Deb, 100%. If there's literal food or actual food. Lions will, it's not like their boundaries are like hard walled boundaries. So if they're following a prey species and it goes into another territory, they'll definitely follow it. And also, if prey is scarce in their territory, they have to eat, so they'll move out and they'll take that chance. But you'll see they won't hang around. They'll catch it, kill it, eat it, and then return back to their core territory. I actually saw the Torchwood Pride and another pride called the Four Ways Pride have a big old punch up on the northern areas of Mala Mala, and the Four Ways Pride caught an impala, and it was on like the grey area, almost like no man's land between the territories, and they caught an impala at night. And then with that feeding activity, the Torchwood Pride were obviously very close, and then they came in to investigate, and then the lions had a big old scrap. But it was interesting, the Torchwood Pride had come to investigate, but they were the ones that actually sort of broke the territory line. So they scrapped with each other, and then the Four Ways Pride just pushed them a little bit, like 100 meters, and then they were happy again, and then they kind of went their separate ways. But yeah, they'll definitely have, because they have to eat, so they will go wherever they need to get food. Hey Cynthia, I hope you're well. Normally when the weather's like this, insects are laying very, very low. They'll be deep in a log or in the ground or tucked into a blade of grass somewhere. But as soon as it stops raining, then there'll be a flourish of insects. But currently, not a great time for insect searching. Tess might know more, seeing as that's what she studied. I want to go see what's happening at Gowrie Dam. Gowrie Dam. Oh, but when the weather's like this, very easy to stay in bed, pop a cup of tea on, some sort of cookie. Normally at my house on Sundays is pancake day, and maybe put on Sir David Attenborough. Woo! Deadly. Is that the pancakes that are super awesome? FC just said that's awesome. Yeah, pancakes are so good. Jack. Yo, we get asked that often. That's interesting. Some of the lion tracks actually came out there. That big old elephant that was pushing the trees over yesterday. I think he could be quite cool. When I was young, I always thought I'd want to be like a lion. But after watching them as a guide, lions, or even like a leopard, they have hard lives. If you just think like an elephant, you just cruise around, you basically eat whatever you like. You can just poop constantly. Nobody thinks you're offsides by just farting away when you're eating hundreds of marulas every day. If it wasn't for man and poaching, I think an elephant would be legendary. Maybe a honey badger also could be pretty cool. Eckhart, what would you be?
That's a tough one.
Eckhart's scratching his head. Not sure. I think Marcel would be a hyena. Just looking for some meat around every corner. And he loves hyenas. Yeah, Matthew, I think that's why they're a good one. Actually, I might just stop here so we can get it. So it's tough now with the roof on, it's a bit easier to shoot straight over, but there's some waterbuck lying down here. We're at the edge of Gowrie Dam. And there's just 3 waterbuck lying on the edge there. So they're quite happy in the rain. So we've actually driven into a bit of a lighter area where there's no rain now, but where we've just come from, there's definitely more bands of that rain coming in behind us. So that the question of what animal would you be, it has to come with like a whole lot of caveats. Like if you do say you're going to be a lion, then you've got to be a successful one. One that's got females, you've got a good territory, maybe part of a coalition so you know you're safe, but to just be a single lion roaming around, that would be tricky. Becky, do you know, I'm going to have to double check because the name now, I'm struggling to remember the name. Let me just check in my book here, because I know there's one further north that instead of the white ring around its bum, it's got the whole rump is white. Let's see here. I think it's Defassa, but sheepers. I just had a look at this thing, says there's 13 subspecies. but all grouped under two varieties, which is the common and then the diffuser. That's a good question. I'm clearly going to have to go do a bit of reading up on waterbuck. I think it's the diffuser might also have like a bit more of a like a prominent white band under the like under the chin on the throat. See that one in the middle's got a bit of like a lighter shade under there. Her jawline. Sorry, I stopped talking. I thought I heard a lion calling in the distance, but no. Nina, they've got very coarse coats, and they've also got a gland that produces like an oil that helps the water just sort of run off them. And as their name suggests, they're often near to or in water. You see, they're quite happily out in the open. This morning while we've been driving around, I think we've seen one herd of impala, and they were all, it was actually some males, and they were like almost huddled up. These waterbuck, these three are like, well, we'll just come hang out at the dam and chew some cud. It's amazing having to leave an area where you've been tracking. Yeah, it grates me. Because I'm just trying to think, where could they have gone? And it's even more frustrating when you can't go into the block.
I'm sitting at one of my favorite little pan systems off of Shibamo track, in fact very close to where I was stuck last night. Vika's laughing at me. But I was just checking in on my little weaver family. Looks like the male is quite relaxed at this point. You can see the tree is really blowing in the wind. The nests are dripping with water. You can see some blue waxbills at the top of the tree as well. Definitely winning on the birding front. But just a lovely way to spend a little bit of the morning. I wasn't expecting to see smaller birds today. That's a blue waxbill calling. Let's just have a listen while we watch a bit of this movement in this buffalo thorn. I'm hoping that waxbill is going to call again. Can hear a few different frogs though, and some other birds flitting in and out. Very surprising to see so many little ones in the bad weather. I think I'm winning today. Blue wax bills, and there's been a weaver in it. Oh. It's gone. There was a blue wax bill. There's been a weaver in and out as well. I'm just checking in on my weaver's nests. They are currently dripping with water, thanks to the consistent rain. But it just shows very well designed. I'm sure they are very dry on the inside. I have noticed a spider web up on the right hand side. Can you see it, BK? Up on the top there of this half of the buffalo weaver, there's this. There you go. Spider's web as well. So this seems to be a pretty productive area next to Shibamo Track, my favorite little pan, other than Chela Pan. Actually, I think this is taking over. But this is a very productive spot for a lot of the smaller things. And I know John T was saying I might be able to answer a bit better with which insects might be out in the rain. Invertebrates in general might not be out in the rain because they are relying on the environment to stay warm and to keep their bodies functioning. But, you know, especially things like flies, butterflies, those kinds of insects would not be out and about much today because they would get weighed down by the water and they would struggle to navigate with flying. Spiders though, invertebrates, they would be around. You would still find things like golden orb web spiders, bark spiders. They might still be out and about. And at pan systems like this, you'd actually still see dragonflies as well. So the animals that are slightly hardier, or the invertebrates that are slightly hardier would be out, maybe even grasshoppers, maybe even caterpillars, but certainly not moths or butterflies. Anything with very delicate wings wouldn't really cope in very bad weather. But I like knowing that this little spot is so productive. Makes a big difference. Every time we come here, I feel like there's something different that we notice. But I love how the little water droplets had collected on that web. I think that web is going to be very noticeable for the rest of the day. And it's one of the best things about early mornings here, but also about rainy days, is you can see spider webs beautifully. Anna Marie, it's exactly that. It's got jewels on it. And to me, in this kind of weather, if you can get a nice shot of a spider web, it is so beautiful. They're so intricately designed, and it really just helps you see every little strand of silk, how geometrically it's designed. Especially big ones like bark spiders or golden orb web spiders. Their webs, when they collect water, are so massive and intricate. It is so impressive. But a lovely little spot to just have a little chat while we're listening for the birds and watching our surroundings. But I'm actually going to carry on. I know BK was complaining about being a little wet earlier. I know my shoes are a bit dirty, folks, but okay, there's grass seeds, just by the way. But I'm wet down to my socks. Look there, you can actually see the line where it's been coming in and my pants have been covering. But even my pants are wet. So BK can't really complain that he's wet today.
What size is that, 2?
Huh?
What size is that, 2?
No, what size is it, a 2?
Yeah.
No. I wear a size 6, thank you very much, BK. Not a size 2. My mom's a size 3. She's got tiny feet. No, but I've even got a strap on my chest from where my jackets come open. I've got a triangle that's wet. And my hair is pretty much dripping. Feels like I just got out the shower. Yeah. BK thinks my feet are small. Thank you, BK. That's very kind. Perfectly average size 6, thank you. Not a size 2. It's the same thing my brothers always say to my mum. Oh, yay. Insect questions. Genera dung beetles are actually one of the more temperature dependent species. That's why we only normally see them in the summer. The rest of the time they're underground. So they'll dig underground and they'll come out in the summer times. The rest of the year they're pretty dormant underground. So when it's bad weather like this, they'll be buried underground somewhere in a little mud wallow. Hopefully a dry one, not a wet one. They'll find a little spot where they can dig themselves under, and they just have a little mini hibernation underground to keep warm. If they've got a nice big dung ball, they might climb into that instead. Depending on the species. The different species use it for different things. So the smaller species in particular use it as a nuptial ball, which means the pair actually dig their way into the middle of the ball of dung and stay in there. Quite interesting. But through the life cycles of the dung beetles, there's, I'm trying to think of the exact number, I think there's 276 species of dung beetle in Southern Africa, but I must double check that again. They all use it for different reasons, but their life cycle can extend so long to wait for the summertime and the rain that they might be underground as a pupa for a year without actually developing further. Caesarbell moths and butterflies, they fold their wings together, so it makes a very flat, like a thin piece of paper. Then what they'll do is they'll go to the underside of a leaf or a thick blade of grass, anything like that, where they can hang underneath with their wings straight down. And because it's such a thin surface area, that means that they won't get as much water onto the wings themselves. So they basically just flatten the wings, keep them tightly closed so that the upper surface stays dry, and they'll hang themselves underneath something, so that will take the water hit and disperse it, and then they'll be dry underneath, hopefully. Unless the rain is coming in at an angle, then they'll just angle to the other side. They can't just dig themselves underground with delicate wings like that. Nature hugger, that's a very cool name, I like it. Yes, there are quite a few different interesting tree species in the area. There's all the normal stuff, which to me, that's the low felt, is characteristic, so it gives me that little feeling of home. But the ones that I found most interesting are probably, there's a lot of Balanites trees here, torchwood, lots and lots of those, and they are absolutely stunning. That's the one that's got a bit of a fluted stem. So it's designed to help kind of track the water out of the tree down to the roots, to try and get as much water into the root system as possible. But just this very twisted looking stem, I love those. And I'm also a very big fan of strangler figs, and there's one strangler fig that I've seen on the property. That's always been one of my absolute favorite trees, and that's the one where the seeds are dispersed by things like African green pigeons from one fig. They'll land on another one, it passes through their system and they poop on the branch. Then it germinates and it grows from the top of another tree down. It grows on a host plant or a host tree species high up, so it's got nice light, it's got nice resources, and it will tap into that tree's food supply. So its roots will actually grow into the tree, and then it starts growing from the top down and eventually grows right the way down to the floor, and it suffocates the host tree, it kills the host tree. But it just looks so beautiful, and it's that same fluted, convoluted stem. It's like a tangle, it's absolutely stunning. I'll have to show them to you. I know that there's a really nice torchwood on Zoe's Road. So if I head across that way at some point, I will show it to you. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, elephant tracks. There are some fairly fresh elephant tracks here. Maybe it's our elephant we had this morning, or maybe another one going towards quarantine. But I'll see if I can find it for you.
Oh, I hope Tess does find those elephants. We just cruising around. We're heading up towards Sandy Patch. Just enjoying this like a bit of a scene here. There's a rainbird calling in the distance. So we just enjoyed a quiet little moment there with this view. Let's carry on. There's something so, I don't know, just peaceful about the colors that we've got at the moment, the rain falling. Sometimes it's cool just to slow down, switch off and listen. Maybe you'll hear some sort of animal that might show itself from making a sound. Yeah, this section of road is really not great. So we're heading back towards Sandy Patch. Hopefully this time we don't drive past the leopard. Good morning, Jade. Yeah, definitely. So, well, I've mentioned a few times, but coming up at the end of the month, we're going to look for a black leopard. So that's definitely right up there. I'd love to see a bongo, forest elephants, jaguar, snow leopard. Now also at the end of the month, Grevy's zebra, Gerenuk, different species of giraffe, pygmy hippo, forest buffalo, dhole, polar bear, grizzly bear, wolves. Yeah, basically my list is any animal that is alive in different continents that I could see. That is what I'd like to do is see as many of them as possible. It is so horrible to think that for all the species that are there today, there's a good chance that some of them may not be there in years to come. So I'd much rather try and see them in the flesh with my own eyes than to just see them in a picture book. Yolanda, so by area, different areas that you're in. So up in northern Kenya you get the reticulated giraffe. Oh, some elephants have been all over the road here. So they've got slightly different coats. Their coats, the patterns are slightly different. I don't have it in the book with me now, but if you Google reticulated or Rothschild or Southern, some say Maasai, slightly different as well. But you'll see those different coat patterns. There's also, it's always up for kind of, it can be a hot topic of how many exact subspecies there are. I just let people come to their own conclusion, but some guys have done tests that show that ones that were considered to be different for many years are actually the same. It's just like a coat variation depending on where they live. But the reticulated where I'm going, so that is one of the recognized different species, but they've got, it almost looks like a very thick broad cream or white band between the dark brown patches. So they do look quite different. Obviously the body shape is the same. Tess can talk to that man on the radio. So I'm quite glad we've ended up, it's cleared up a bit. At one stage we were literally 1 minute away from actually calling the drive because it was so wet where we were. Fortunately now it's a bit better. Might have to go find a viewpoint and have a cup of warm coffee and dunk a biscuit. It looks like Tess's tracking has paid off and she's found an elephant.
Jonty, it's you. Since you said you want to be an elephant, if you could have an animal that you would be, you'd be an elephant. Well, I think you're actually taller than this particular elephant. This is a young bull. And I think he is dwarfed by the height of Jonty. But he's looking nice and relaxed up on quarantine. You can see it is raining. And he is getting very, very wet all over his back at the moment. But he's not too worried about it. He's not hiding under the trees. He's happily feeding like Jonty. He appreciates the kitchen. And just seems to be enjoying standing around. Now in comparison to the bull that we had this morning, as we opened the show, this is a very small bull compared to that big one. I'm quite surprised that he's happily feeding along up quarantine here with the smell of that big bull around. because I can tell you from experience this morning that that bull smelt the strongest like must that I've ever smelt in my life, mixed with fish. It was very weird. Oh, I can hear a branch breaking from another elephant. Shanti, where are your friends? Found the rest of them. Oh my goodness, it is coming down hard.
See if I can get it.
Yeah, see if you can show the rain there. The rain has just started, oh my word, coming in from behind the vehicle. It is bucketing down. Have a look at the horizon, everybody. Behind the elephant, look at how you can see the sheets of rain moving through over those trees on the crest. So I'm sure the elephant is enjoying a free shower this morning. No need to have a mud bath. Wash everything off, and then you can use the opportunity to have a fresh mud bath when it's hot again. Okay, we're actually going to have to start closing the flaps very soon. The rain is getting quite a lot. I'm giving it another 2 minutes, and if it stays like this, then we're going to have to close the flap where the elephant is and only shoot out the front. Now, how beautiful is it to watch an elephant bull in the rain, everybody? It's a very special day when you get to spend time with elephants like this, and it's raining and it's cool and they're out and about doing what they need to do. And having that elephant bull this morning really just made my day. Fran, yes, they do stop growing, so an elephant's skin is only so big, it's not going to keep extending. So once it gets to a certain age, the trunk isn't necessarily going to get any bigger. It can get stronger, so it can get broader based on they're using it every day, so the muscles are developing. But it can't ever just keep growing and keep growing, like, because it's not cartilage, it's not like our ears, it's not like an elephant's ears, it's muscle. If it was a cartilage piece, yes, it could keep growing the actual structure of it, but the structure of it will stay the same. It's just going to get more muscular, or maybe later in life a bit weaker and then thinner. But once it's grown into its trunk, or once its trunk has grown into it, then it should stay about the same proportion to its body. Trunks are such an amazing appendage. Really, really special. I'm not sure if you can hear the rain, but we've got some pretty big drops coming in from the rain roof. I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. While we are here, it looks like the young male is starting to move a bit, so let's just have a little bit of a listen while we're up here. Listen for the sounds of the rain on the roof and even on my hat, because that's louder where my mic pack is. But also the breeze as it's picking up in gusts around us, and just watch the waves of rain coming past behind that elephant. It's quite mesmerizing. So I'm sure you can hear some movement. We're just going to wipe the lens. Really wild guy. Females will interact with males and must depending on what cycle they are in or where they are in the estrous cycle. So if, for example, it is a female with a newborn calf, she certainly does not want a bull and must around her calf. So she is going to move away. She's going to protect her baby with her own life. She'll get very upset if a bull keeps coming closer, but preferably she'd rather run out of the area and keep the baby safe. However, if you're a female that's already got, say, a 2-year-old calf, and you're wanting to now, or you're coming back into your estrous cycle, so you're wanting to mate, then of course you would accept the bull, so you might be very much more tolerant of him. That being said, if he does start getting rough because elephant bulls and musk, let's be honest, they do get very rough. They push each other around, they push the females around. They get frustrated with the females if the females aren't, standing still or any of that kind of thing. Then she might get a bit grumpy and push him off a bit. But ultimately, if the elephant bull is the strongest that is there and he's in must, then ultimately she will end up submitting to that. I love how he looks like he's walking in slow motion. Jonty's the same. He's so tall when he walks, it kind of takes 3 of my steps to keep up with one of his. Momo, that is an excellent question. I have no idea how far the scent would travel. It depends on the conditions on the day. So this isn't something where I can give you an exact answer. This is more of on a day like today, it's not going to travel very far because the moisture will accentuate, so it will amplify the scent. But because of the wind and the moisture, it's not going to move as far. But if it was a cold day, overcast without rain, the scent might travel very far. If it was a very, very hot day with with wind, then it would travel even further. So it really just depends on the conditions. I would think you can smell an elephant bull in must from sometimes a kilometer away. And especially if he's left a trail of dung on the road, and when they walk on the roads, they're constantly dribbling fluid from their penises as well. And that's the very, very smelly part. And it sounds really strange to discuss, but this is a normal part of life for us in the bush. That smells quite strong. So you can follow an elephant in must's trail just from watching where his penis has been dribbling. And that you can smell from quite a distance. But normally, if you arrive in an area, you can smell there's an elephant bull in must somewhere long before you see him. Absolutely lovely time spent with this boy this morning. Thank you.
So we just have come up, we're going back towards Sandy Patch now. We thought we were out of the rain, but it just rocked up again. And the worst part is from where we are, the only way to drive is drive straight into it. So you might see water droplets on the screen because the rain is just coming underneath our roof. We is the answer. I wonder which part of the property Tess is driving around on.
We have changed our perspective a little bit. Changed the angle slightly where we are looking at this elephant because he's come underneath the big marula to look for some fruits on the floor. I would love to know how his strength at this point will compare to the big elephant bull we had in must this morning. Because big elephants like this, if they just knock their head against the tree for a little bit, the marulas will fall out. But I'd love to know how many knocks it would take him compared to the big bull in must. I think he could do one solid hit with his forehead and it would just rain marula fruits everywhere. Sorry, now you can hear some movement. We are just covering up some equipment. Absolutely gorgeous. Hey, big boy. Well, elephant bull is actually slowly ambling towards the area of camp, believe it or not, and where the other big bull was this morning. I'm wondering where that big bull has gone. But it's not often outside of rainy days like this where we would be able to really appreciate an elephant out in the open, not struggling with the heat and flapping his ears constantly, not moving from shade to shade or shadow to shadow. So it's quite nice to be able to just sit and watch him up here on quarantine, the birds calling in the background. We've got a slight break in the rain at the moment, but I can see the next wave coming already. And it's funny, I can almost track it on the horizon because you can see the trees really clearly behind him right now. But as I'm looking towards the back of the vehicle, I can't see those trees anymore. So it's coming back this way again. It's hitting us in waves. And so I'm sure the elephant is loving it. Kimberly, sorry, I know you're asking a question, FC. If you could please just repeat the middle part of that question. I know it's about newborn elephants, but I didn't get the middle part. Birth defects, thank you so much. So, Kimberly, if you're looking at newborn elephants, birth defects might be anything from, the floppy ears, where the ears haven't had enough space to develop properly in the womb, and so the cartilage has become damaged and the ears are deformed, through to albinism, which is another scary one if you think about it for a lot of animals. For elephants, it's actually one of the more successful ones because they're such big animals. They don't have to worry as much if they're albino. What you'll see in an albino elephant calf is actually a very pink color. So they get a very pink color on their ears and their bodies. They're not quite white, they're more of a very light grey with pink tinting. But you'd also get a number of other ones. You get a number of mutations in the genes that might cause a stillbirth, or possibly a loss of a limb, or developing without a trunk. All of the same things that could happen to humans could essentially happen to animals as well. It could very easily happen that a mother might reabsorb a calf, or that she might give birth to a stillborn and abandon it if the deformities are severe enough that the calf does not survive. And it can be anything from, a slightly larger brain than normal to, be missing a few body parts, a change in chromosomes, accidentally a mutation. So it really does depend. We don't often see things like that out in the bush purely because, not because it doesn't happen, but because usually those animals don't survive, or they're abandoned. Because the mothers know that it's not worthwhile. It's not worth the energy if the little one is not going to survive long. They have a natural instinct that will tell them that. I've seen an albino elephant and I've seen an elephant with floppy ears. So those are probably the two most relatable ones to me in terms of birth defects. No, we can't reposition, BK. Yes, we can. Apologies, everyone. I'm busy sucking on a throat lozenge. Trying to get my cough and my sore throat to go away just a little bit. Welcome. He's actually headed towards the drainage line now. Now you can see the next wave of rain is coming in. It's changed direction a little bit. Just now it was coming from behind us. Now it is coming straight from the side. And this is exactly how my phone took a dive yesterday. You're a big boy. Now what I particularly enjoy about an elephant in the rain is how dark they look. Elizabeth, I was just about to say, you actually stopped me mid-sentence with your comment. That is fantastic timing. Well done. The dark elephant, the coloration in the rain compared to the bright white tusks is so gorgeous. It really accentuates some of the best parts, you know. But yo, Elizabeth, great minds think alike. Thank you so much. That made my day. Your comment was perfectly timed. He's moving behind the brush again. He just doesn't like being on camera today, BK. I think he doesn't like you, BK. He's actually moving towards the rain, which is quite interesting. Normally they stand at their backs to the rain. There we go, slowly coming out the other side, folks. You can see the white flashes of tusk. Oh, I don't think my lozenge helped at all. It's good to know. Let's just watch him for a bit now that he's moving. He's coming closer to the road now. I wonder why. You want me to move forward again, PK?
Maybe reverse backward.
A little backwards.
A little backward, yeah.
That's not a little backwards, it's like 50 meters backwards. Oh my goodness, this is very entertaining, and I've got a roof behind me, folks. I can't see where I'm reversing. Anyway, let me give it a bash, see if I can reverse for this elephant, and I'll send you to Jaunty on a bumble.
Okay, so sorry, we lost our signal briefly there. We back up, we're checking some different areas now. We stopped for a quick little coffee, which tasted unbelievable. I actually even had a cookie that I dunked in my coffee. Game changer. We just thought that we were like out of the rain, and we actually stopped. We lifted the sides up. I took my waterproof off, and then it just said, "What do you think you're doing?" And now it's not hard rain, it's just this fine drizzle. I can't even believe it. My wife, Ricky Bobby, she sent me pictures of her making pancakes at home. Oh, Jimmy, I hope you're enjoying that tea. This is really, really good tea weather. Tea, pancakes, and a bit of WildEarth or Winter Olympics. Could get stuck into a bit of curling. Ex-Ranger, yours was lemon and sugar. I like butter and honey. When I was younger, I used to go full baboon, and at the lodges there would be cream, chocolate sauce, honey, syrup, chocolate flakes. I used to really just pull the ring out of it. We used to, because they would do pancake stops, so sometimes the chef would come out and they would cook pancakes for you, which was good. And other times they would do like a drop. So you would arrive and there'd be a skottel, like a flat topped gas cooker, and they would have some batter and whatever else they would leave there, and then you and the tracker would mix the batter, or not even mix it, stir it up and then cook pancakes for everybody. And then you'd undoubtedly end up with a lot of batter left over, and then we'd have like competitions. You'd make these pancakes like this sort of size, but they'd be more like a crumpet. They're thick, not a rolling pancake. And I'd like make faces on mine with cream and chocolates and all sorts of toppings. We'd have like a competition, the Picasso challenge. But now, just butter and honey. Maybe a little bit of cinnamon, just sprinkled over the top. Oh, I want to stop and just show you what this is looking like over there. Let me stop here where there's a gap. Look out into the distance there. If that doesn't scream pancakes, I don't know what does. Oh yeah, Lillian, that's like one of my specialities. Maybe even a little bit of bacon on that old pancake. Now we're talking. Cat just said, please stop. And maybe even a hot chocolate with a healthy dash of amarula. When you look at that, you can just hear blanket, movie, tea. That's what this weather screams out. But it is amazing. All the I was going to say, after all the years of the rain can make drives very, very quiet, but you never know what you're going to see. So it's always good to pop out for a bit. So I think in this spot here, everyone was enjoying it. Let's have a little 2 minutes of just enjoying the scene and the sounds.
Our elephant bull is not having any of this nonsense this morning. He's moving very quickly. We're trying to keep up. But of course we're not off-roading, and we don't want to off-road in this situation. We don't want to, stress him or anything like that. He's looking nice and relaxed. I can tell you that the rain has officially soaked down to my bones. So if you're hearing movement, it's just us packing some things. I've moved about 50 times for BK. Also, I'm very offended that Jonty went and got coffee and didn't tell me. And biscuits. How mean. I mean, I always bring my coffee with on drive. I always have a flask with me, but good heavens. How dare you go and get biscuits from the kitchen without me and then talk about pancakes and flapjacks. Yes, I could do with some flapjacks and bacon and syrup right now. My mom makes the most amazing flapjack and bacon and syrup stack. And she is famous for it with myself, my brothers, all of our friends. Especially if we've all been hanging out together, gone out for a night out or something like that. And then the next morning, Mum always makes us a flapjack stack with 3 or 4 flapjacks with bacon bits in between, syrup over the top. Oh my goodness, I would kill for that right now, Mum. I'm making VK hungry. He's starting to drool. Oh my goodness. Yeah, our elephant bull doesn't want to stick around today. He's using the tactic of camouflage at a distance without knowing it. Walking behind a dead tree in the foreground camouflages him very well. Lolo, an elephant can feed for 23 hours of a 24-hour day if it really wants to or needs to, depending on the conditions it's in. They'll only sleep for about an hour in a day total. A youngster will sleep a lot more. A young calf will be sleeping under mum's tummy for a lot of the day. But a big adult will need to keep feeding almost consistently. So very limited periods of time where you don't see an elephant chewing on something. Shall we go for a bumble, BK?
Yeah.
Okay. Our elephant bull's not interested in us anymore, everybody. Trying to warm up. At least Wendy's starting today. At least. I've also got my coffee, but I don't have biscuits from camp, and I'm very upset. Jonty went and got them without me. So mean. Here we are working hard, BK, and Jonty's just freeloading with biscuits.
Need to go forward a bit. Just a bit. Oh, sorry.
I'm looking at the hornbill of the elephant. You can see where it's been feeding on the termite mound, everybody. The hornbill has been picking away at the new section the termites have been adding, eating the termites as they're coming up. Okay, the rain is coming down again. Goodness gracious. But yes, there was a hornbill here eating termites, and BK thought I was asking him to frame the elephant again, which is about 3 kilometers in the distance now. What an interesting morning. I think it's probably a bit of payback for me talking about flapjacks in front of him. You can see the rain is really starting to bucket down at this point. So I think we might have to head towards camp. We are starting to get a bit soaked. We'll keep you updated as we go. I'm going to carry on a little bumble, so let's see what else we can find. Oh, Wendy, don't do it to me. Let's see what else we can find on this open area of quarantine. We are getting soaked. Coffee always helps. Coffee will help anything. That's my firm belief. There are a few things in this world that will help with anything, and coffee is one of them. Another one for me is bacon and chocolate. Also a hug. A hug helps with anything. Always. Diona, I think it's an unquantifiable amount, to be perfectly honest with you. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of eggs laid by a queen in a termite colony. In fact, she can lay thousands in a day. So I wouldn't know how many eggs there are in a termite mound. I think it is far too many to count, and if somebody has got the time to do it, I would love to hear what the averages are for the termite mounds around here. It would be fascinating, because they can lay so many eggs in a day. It would be, oh, my roof is raining on me again. It would be very interesting to see how many actually come about from there. Goodness gracious, this roof is definitely trying to make a waterfall for me at the moment. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bumble up for your tiller access towards power line, sandy patch. But I don't know how much more rain we can take. Dr. Rocky Balboa, historically we have got, we've had a lot of floods in this area. In fact, the last one was, I think, 2 years ago in February. And the reason we're not seeing it now is because this type of rain is not the type of rain we normally get. We are much more prone to thunderstorms. And when there's a thunderstorm, it means there's a very hard, very sudden downpour. So it's not these tiny little mizzle drops of rain that seep into everything. It's this massive downpour. Sometimes it's hail. Like that. That's, but everywhere. Oh. so PK, stop laughing at me. So what happens is that if you've got the lightning, you've got the thunder, you've got these massive droplets of water coming down in sheets, that will cause a flood. But rain like this, a light mizzle, no, it sinks in, so it won't flood at this point. But everybody, I think that was my cue, getting whacked in the face by a little waterfall from my roof. We are going to love and leave you for now, send you to some of our best memories from our last safaris, and we will hopefully see you again a little bit later, and hopefully we'll be a bit drier. So enjoy the repeat, and we'll see you just now. Just now.
The best find of today. Is you? Doesn't look rather comfortable, but we see you. Isn't this gorgeous? Are you just sunbathing, chilling, living the chill life? This is obviously a rock monitor. We definitely see the water monitors or the Nile monitors a lot more than we see the rock. But you can see this is where they hide. In little holes and crevices and trees. And then they just pop themselves out to sunbathe. You look very relaxed up there. I'm rather jealous. So stunning. Now they are actually incredible swimmers, the rocks. They're just not as... Sorry, this is a beautiful shot of the Ellie. We're also surrounded by Ellies. I don't know. Oh, this is also magical. I don't know what to talk about. These are the Ellies that popped up from the drainage. I thought I would be able to get them. Hello. Buffalo thorn delish. The thorns and the hooks clearly don't put you off. The leaves are very nutritious. Even for humans. Sometimes I snack on them in camp when I'm walking by. Yeah, I can see why you like them. I tried to fry them up one time. There's a delicacy in the Maldives called telefai, and they use leaves of a specific tree, very small leaves, and they dry them out in the sun. Then they fry them in garlic, lemon, and salt and oil. And they're the best things in the world. I introduced Davi to them, and okay, someone's taking a tantrum. Anyway, I thought maybe I could do the same with buffalo thorn, but it didn't work. Everybody around the table, James Henry pretended to like them, but no, I know they were lying. Might get a 2-shot here, Odie. If the Ellie doesn't scare away our little lizard. There you go, there's a lizard. Look at the claws. Look at the two of them together. It's coming very close to the car now to get the vegetation. Oh, they're all coming. They're all here, Owen. You see the youngsters? Hazel, you're saying you love how chilled that rock monitor is. I know. Probably not got enough energy to do anything else, but so chilled. Hello, guys. You're gonna go to Gary Dam for a drink? I really think you should. You know, these elephants actually might scare away the monitor. They're right underneath them now. What a cool sighting. That was a bit dramatic. Very dramatic. No, not at all, Susan. Not at all. You have no need to. It's not anything that elephants need to pay attention to. Owen, 12 o'clock. Hello. Got an itchy leg. Beautiful girl. I can see you having a sniff of us. You're not very subtle. But that's okay. I hope I don't smell bad. But Susan, not at all. He's watching them. But they don't have to bother with his presence at all. They're all coming here. There's obviously some delicious grass. Underneath this quarry. Are you smelling us and you think that we can't see you because we can? Look at those nostrils, that's incredible. They're huge. Okay, that was just a chance to come and smell us. It was fake, pretending I'm going to eat. I'm going to hide behind this quarry. They won't see me, and I'm going to smell them. We've got more coming. We've got a nice calf and mother in front. 12 o'clock. Some more coming. A young boy approaching from the right. Here we go, here we go. Hello, boy. Marianne, you're saying... Did you get that, Owen? What sweet elephants. Very sweet. This is actually one of the nicest elephant sightings I've actually had in a while. They're just so relaxed. Been in the drainage, eating all the delicious food. Our monitor lizard's fallen asleep. We'll show you him in just a moment because the elephants are going to disappear. This is pretty special. And we spotted this herd solely based on vegetation moving. We didn't actually see an elephant for a while. We just saw the trees going boing, 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 boing. That's the best views of the Ellie's gone. But Mr. Rock Monitor is still here. Did you enjoy that? I did. It's so cute, you know, you wouldn't think that reptiles would be cute, but they absolutely are. What an absolutely wonderful sighting that was.
Okay, so we found a giraffe. Big male. It's quite nice just to sit here, and also you'll be able to hear the tail swishing every now and then. I think he's just gonna hopefully end up feeding right next to us. Actually looks so cool with the clouds behind the giraffe. He's eating from a guarri tree, but I think mostly what he might be after are the little fruits. I mean, I was complaining about ticks, but this guy is just littered in it. And all the folds. Just gonna try to turn around, follow the giraffe for a little while. Luckily, he feels like walking on the road. Very elegant way of walking. So quite quiet now when they walk.
Well, that's pretty cool. There's a genet that's been watching Shasha all along, just on top there of that other really thin marula tree. Huh. Well, that's quite unusual. The last sighting I had of a genet in a leopard was actually Tristan and I went to Londolozi not long ago, maybe about a month ago. And we found, with the guide that was doing the transfer for us, like a really cool guide called Kirsten, we saw this genet on top of a very thin branch of a tree, and we're like, no, there's no reason why a genet would be up there for no reason. And then we started scanning, and at the bottom of the tree, then we saw, hidden in the rocks was a leopard cub. And then the genet was on the top of the tree, there was a kill on the tree, and then the leopard at the bottom. It was quite something. So I wonder what has actually happened. I don't know if there's a hole in that tree, and that's where the genet's been coming out from, because it seems to be pretty perched in there. Let me just switch this radio off a little bit. But it's a very cool sighting. Oh, what an extra surprise. I don't think this genet knows what to do. Oh, little Janet, how did you get yourself up there? Genets can be active during the day, but they're mainly animals that are crepuscular or nocturnal. They move around in lower light conditions, and that's when we tend to see a lot of them. But they can, as we know, they can move sometimes during the day, and today is a pretty dark day. I mean, it's been strange weather, so perhaps it was busy out and about looking for food, and then, I don't know, maybe he bumped into Shasha and he was like, nope. Went up the tree to try and stay away from it. It seems like an older genet as well. Almost looks like a little bit of a Yoda because it's got a broken ear. Oh, you poor genet. How stressful it must be to be you. Gianna, I agree with you. The sighting keeps getting better and better. It's unbelievable that this is one of the best views of a genet that I've had in a very long time. Although I must say, I had a very cool sighting with Darren on my previous stint of Shasha actually hunting a genet. So I don't know if there's a theme here, if this leopard likes eating genets. Maybe he chased that genet up a tree before he got the impala. I mean, there are a couple of possibilities. Because this is, yeah, like I said, this is the second time that I've seen Shasha close to a genet, or, well, we don't know if they were involved. The genet definitely knows that the leopard is here, but I don't think Shasha knows that the genet is there, or if he does know, doesn't seem particularly fazed by his presence or anything like it. He's not even looking in that direction. Yeah, Shasha is still there, but I don't want to sound like a spoiled brat, but we get to see way more leopards than what we get to see genets like this out in the open, which is pretty cool. Like I said, I thought maybe there was a hole in there where the genet is, but I don't know if it had some sort of altercation with Shasha and that's why it went up the tree, or if maybe it was moving around here and then saw that Shasha was around and then just decided to go up the tree just to stay away. It obviously knows that there is a leopard there, and it's just looking very alert, and it's looking past us. We're not blocking the view or anything, and Josh is still by the base of the termite mound, just chilling down there. He's looking very hot, and then I think this is a large spotted genet because it's got a tip of a blacktail. We get two similar species here, one slightly larger than the other one. The small spotted genet and then the large spotted genet. So the only reason we could actually see it is because we saw the tail hanging, and as we picked up binoculars, Aubrey turned around, and Aubrey's one of the guys at Zoom, and he was like, did you see the genet? We're like, oh goodness, it is. So they are quite arboreal creatures. They do live in holes, or they can go into holes in the trees, and that's where they spend the night, or when they go and rest, and then they spend the day there as well. But we don't really see them this well. It's not a common sight at all. It's more common during the night when you go around with the spotlight and then you see them, but it's actually a very special sighting, what we're witnessing now. Like I said, probably an older individual. It seems like it's missing half an ear, or, well, not missing, but it's been split, so I wonder if it's run to Shasha before, or ran into Shasha before. Maybe it's just looking to go down there. It is facing the bottom part, so I don't know, maybe he wants to go down there. Oh, I'm gonna just turn the radio down a little bit. Pretty epic. What a good sighting. Hey. That's so cool. And then the fact that it's so chilled, and Josh is he's still resting, so I know we want to see the leopard, but let's see what the genet does, because the leopard will very likely just move back to the kill. I want to see if maybe the genet will go further up, or if it will actually just come down and then run somewhere else. And then of course if it comes down, we're not going to follow it. I don't think it'll be a very small creature to follow out in the bush. It'll likely run into another tree, and we won't be able to see it. Also, we don't want to get in the way if there's a little genet running away from a potential predator such as a leopard. I don't think Shasha would be interested in the genet, though. Not today. Maybe another day that he's hungry, but today he's got a big kill there that he doesn't need to worry about. Ooh.
I found my water hole for the afternoon. The twin of twin dams, Lawrence Pan. And look how sweet is this. This is something you don't actually often see, a tortoise drinking. A leopard tortoise. You don't often see that. You see them on the road scuttling away, moving away. It's quite rare to get amazing visuals. And this one's actually drinking. Oh, that's so sweet. I don't know why it's sweet, to be honest, but it is. Completely replenishing its water levels. Not only will it sort of be going in. What is wrong with you guys? Not only will the water sort of go into the stomach, it will also drink extra water for that bursa sac of theirs and fill it up. And that's a wonderful thing about summer, if you really do have to move an animal like this, because you shouldn't pick them up. But if it's in the middle of a main road, of course, everyone's going to want to pick them up and just move them off the road, because any injury that's going to happen is going to be human caused. But because there is so much water around, you don't have to worry about them dehydrating. This is so lovely. I don't know if I've ever seen one drink like this before. Linda, you're saying first time for you, and it's adorable. Agreed. I also think it's the first time for me. We see them, but I've never seen one sort of in this position having a really good drink. Now I'm feeling thirsty. Reptiles do need water, of course. They have a completely different biology, but they do need water. Every organism, one way or another, needs water. I can't believe this panda has water. I'm overjoyed. We're going to spend a little bit of time here. I'm going to try and do some dragonflies, listen to bird calls. I mean, it's not quite the pan that it will become, but I've spent many, many hours here. It's brought me lots of happiness. It's a wonderful place for birds, for the weavers, for insects, and clearly for tortoises. Oh, he's moving. He's on the move. Highly mobile animal. Looks so heavy. Oh. Are we eating now? Remarkable. We've had a little drink and now it's time to eat. Carrie, you were saying this is amazing to see this in the wild and live. It is. It's not all about the big things. It's not all about the cats. This is so cool. We do see leopard tortoises around, but normally when they hear the vehicle, they sort of hide, and the views are never this good. I don't think it fully realizes that we are maybe here. Eating all the delicious grass.
We're just quickly looking at tracks. I don't know, Odie, if you can bring that up, because you can actually see, just to give an idea how easy this is after rain. You can actually see the tracks quite well formed. Even from there, you can see the little claw marks. Now what I do have with me, let's see if this works. But there are lots and lots and lots of hyenas around. Odie, I'm going to use a laser pointer while I'm here.
Check that one.
Yeah, let's look at that one. Actually, that's probably not the best one. Yeah, the angle's a bit tough. Let's try find a bit of track. You're going to have to take my word for it. These are hyena tracks. There was actually one walking on the right-hand track, well, the right-hand track and the left tire track, both of them going this way. Luckily with them, the claw marks face in the direction they're walking. It's a bit obvious, sorry for that. It is still rather early. So we're on a road called Philemon's Dip, and I think we drove this road back to camp last night when it started raining out. Quite liked it. Gonna go through a little sandy dip soon. Some old elephant dung in front of us. You can see already worked through by these ground birds and of course dung beetles. They've been rife and rampant after this amount of rain. What we started getting now are these tiny little bugs called shield bugs, or basically stink bugs. And they are just everywhere. If you leave a light on here, especially when you're eating, they tend to gather around your food. And I can tell you now, they taste exactly how they smell. So for all of you that's ever smelt a stink bug, don't eat it. It's not fun. So yeah, let's continue on our way to a cut line. Like I said, everything in first gear, slowly cruising along.
Look at that tail. She's definitely fascinated. She's intrigued by something here. Oh, now we've got more vultures. She's definitely listening to whatever's happening in the drainage line. I think with the amount of hyena activity we've had, maybe she managed to kill something in the drainage line. The hyenas managed to steal it. And now we are able to sit here and watch her as she's analyzing what's happening. Just a reminder, everybody, this beautiful girl, Tlalamba, is part of the Genesis collection. So if you want to find out more, you can head over to the WildEarth website and look for the NFTs tab. I think she is the prettiest. Not quite as pretty as Kachava maybe, but so beautiful. I feel like Tlalamba has a different type of beauty around her. She's such a big female, and she's the perfect combination of muscle and grace. Isn't she lovely? Oh, you can see that whitetail from here. She is looking for everything and anything this morning, and she is being distracted by all of the noises, and this is actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's for a leopard, it's it's part of the reason why they are so successful, because they pay so much attention to the smaller details, all the small movements, all the small noises, the smells. All of the predators will do it, but leopards in particular, because they're on their own, they know they can't rely on anyone else, and so from a very young age they get used to listening to absolutely everything around them. So it's lovely to see her being so attentive and so careful about what she's listening to. She's pausing very regularly. And you can hear there's a bird alarm calling at her, so that got her tail going, and straight away, look at that change in behavior. The tail is up instead of down because of the alarm calling. So she's saying, all right, I know you've seen me, I'm moving, I'm not staying here, I'm not hunting. And this is giving animals the opportunity to see her approaching so that she can avoid any situation where she might accidentally get injured. You definitely don't want to be mobbed by a herd of elephants or something. So if there's alarm calling and she can raise her tail, everything can see her from a distance, and there's no need to accidentally surprise someone. That being said, I think if she surprised a scrub hare right now, she'd probably go for it. She does look like she's eaten a little bit. Her stomach is not flat, but it is more difficult to tell because of the way her mammary glands are hanging. Her stomach hangs a bit lower naturally now from the cubs. But she definitely could eat again, I think. That bird is still alarm calling behind us. It's one of the cisticolas. Now you can see she's dropped her tail again, so this is conveying I'm far enough away from the alarm call. Oh, Nicanova, that would be wonderful. She's going to send Mark. It would be wonderful to meet Kuchava's cub. Oh, she didn't send Mark. Wow. Throwing me under the bus there. Yes, it would be so lovely to meet Kuchava's cub before I go. I'm very happy that I've gotten to meet Columbus cubs at least. I'd love to see them again, but I think any chance you get to meet a new leopard and spend some time with it, not much compares in this world to that feeling. Because it really is an honor to be able to spend time with a leopard like this. You know, leopards are very secretive, they're very quiet in their movements, and so if they don't want to be seen like the last few days, they won't be. They absolutely will not be seen if they don't want to be. So for her to be out in the open, allowing us to follow, is just, it's an absolute gift. This makes every day worth it. So the direction she's moving in, if she heads up to the right, she will still end up back at quarantine. If she goes left, she'll end up in the drainage line that's fed by Voyatella Dam. So it'll be interesting to see where she decides to go. If she keeps going straight down on this road, she's going to end up near Ribbonsden site at Twin Dams. Don't know if she'll go that far though. I love it when she sits and listens. That's when she's really intent. She's focused. So she's listening back up towards quarantine again. So remember where we are. She wants to make sure there's nothing coming up from the drainage line, but also no disturbing sounds coming from quarantine, because the surrounding drainage lines around quarantine is where we think the cubs are still hidden. We haven't seen tracks of the cubs anywhere other than going into the one drainage line. We haven't seen them coming out, but Rexon found Lalamba's tracks on her own this morning, which means she's hidden the cubs somewhere. And with all the hyenas around, I think her kill was stolen, so she needs to find some more food. And that's probably why she's out on her own. And taking the chance, even though she's in the open like this, for any leopard, taking the chance to sit and listen is a really good combination of things. It's giving her information on who's around. It's also giving her information on potential hunting sites, potential prey around the area, and potential threats. So she's doing a combination of everything. She's the ultimate multitasker right now because she's even grooming while she's listening. She's also going to be smelling while she's grooming, so she can pick up on all of these different things. Incredible senses, very, very heightened senses. Yeah, she keeps looking over towards the drainage line in particular. I think her kill must have been in there somewhere. To me, she's always had such bold geometric rosettes compared to the other leopards. Yes, they all have rosettes, but hers just seem to be very bold in terms of they're very thick, very close together. Looks like she's been designed by a perfect architect. I'd love to know what she's thinking at the moment. She's definitely hearing something that we can't. Maybe some movement in the drainage line if the hyenas have finished the carcass and they're moving up and down. She might be hearing that movement. Can you get any more beautiful? Veronique, we are also very happy to see her, and I'm glad that it has brought you joy seeing her this morning. It is always such a treat when you've been tracking her and you know she's in the area and you've been tracking for a few days, and then you get to see her and it just kind of reaffirms what you know about the bush, but also it reaffirms the condition she's in, and we get to have a little bit of a bonding moment with her and see what is happening in her life. It's a nice little window into the life of a leopard. Let's see if I can move. She's actually headed towards the drainage line. Unexpected twist. I was expecting her to go more towards quarantine. But I can see why she would choose this. There's a nice termite mound and some dead trees. And so I'm going to see if I can follow her towards the drainage line, see what we can find in there with her. Miss Tlalamba is now headed straight down towards the drainage line. She's paused again to have a listen, and her tail keeps moving ever so slightly right on the tip. And I think she might be assessing whether it's safe to go into the drainage line, but at the same time whether there's any potential food down here. So you can see she's using this long grass to her advantage and just giving it a little evaluation while she's here. So the only thing I've seen so far moving on the other side of her has been a Swainson's spurfowl. Oh, she must have a fly bothering her. I haven't seen anything else, but this is a perfect area for duiker. Morgan and Frankie, you are 11 and 7. Thank you so much for your question. Tlalamba's cubs are just about 3 months old now, we think, about 12 weeks. So they're still very young and very cute and very small. And we don't know yet who they will grow up to be, but we can already see some nice personality traits coming through. And hopefully, well, it seems like one is like mom and one is like dad, actually. One cub seems to be a bit more like Tlalamba, a bit adventurous, outgoing. The other one, maybe a little bit more like Mulwati, a little bit more shy. So it seems like a pretty good split of leopard personalities at this stage. But I hope we can find them for you sometime soon in the next few days. And I feel like we have definitely got very lucky this morning to have ended with such a gorgeous girl. I'd love to know where she's going from here. Maybe there's a dike she can hear somewhere. Oh my goodness, how perfect is she? Look at those ears in the grass. Everyone, I am so happy that you could join us this morning, that we could share Tlalamba with you and all of the little odds and ends, the shongololos and the birds. It's been an absolutely wonderful morning, and hopefully we'll be able to find her around here again this afternoon. At least we know where to start now. And we're definitely looking forward to having you with us for our safari this afternoon. Hopefully we can end with some more spots like we did this morning. How exciting. Perfect way to end our morning with you. Thanks everyone.
Okay, so we found a giraffe. Big male. It's quite nice just to sit here, and also you'll be able to hear the tail swishing every now and then. I think he's just gonna hopefully end up feeding right next to us. Actually looks so cool with the clouds behind the giraffe. He's eating from a guarri tree, but I think mostly what he might be after are the little fruits. I mean, I was complaining about ticks, but this guy is just littered in it. And all the folds. Just gonna try to turn around, follow the giraffe for a little while. Luckily, he feels like walking on the road. Very elegant way of walking. So quite quiet now when they walk.
Now I'm gonna really struggle with the ID because it's dark, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll need your help. We've got 5. I can only see what the infrared sees. It's gonna be tough, but let's do it, guys. Hello. How are we all? May I ask where you have all been? Okay, let's try and zoom in nicely on them, Darren, and try and get some IDs. Oh, tail up, look at that, is that corks? Oh, she's like a supermodel wading through this. Oh, no, we're just going, okay. Going for a swim, nighttime swim. Jolly good. Can we zoom in any more here, Darren? I know it's tricky. Yeah, so this is corks. Okay, next one. Heart. Okay, there's a third one coming. Oh, yeah. An excitable one. This is fascinating that it's corks and heart again, I must say. They are really, really up to no good. Oh, we're peeing in the water. How wonderful. We've got some sabados here. Can we just maybe zoom into this one, Darren? I think that's Gingi. That's Gingirika. Okay, so we've got a hard corky Gingi, and then let's try and get one of the other ones. Oh. Okay, that's...
Another one to our right.
Yeah, let's... Oh, tail up, what's happening here? Darren, let's just quickly zoom in on this one before we lose it. Comet! Yo! I'm gonna guess the other one's Novella, the other sabado, but that's the one I'm unsure about. Okay, they are all moving. I've got a hyena in front of my car, but once it moves, we're gonna follow. Corky's up to no good.